The U.S. has imposed an oil blockade. Cuba recently lost support from Venezuela, and Mexico has also stopped sending them oil. Trump says Cuba was in its last moments of life.
Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money. They have no oil. They have a bad philosophy. They have a bad regime that's been bad for a long time.
The Castro family, as you know, John, still has major influence on the island. They handpicked Diaz-Canel as president. Recently, there's been reports that Marco Rubio held secret talks with the grandson of the former Cuban leader, Raul Castro, last month in the Caribbean. And by the way, still off to the side here as their pressure mounts on Cuban leaders, the Justice Department is weighing criminal charges tied to drugs and immigration against these Cuban leaders, just adding more pressure for them to come to a deal, potentially. John.
Is there any chatter you're picking up on how it might go if there were to be a change in government in Cuba? Would it be like Venezuela, where you have somebody who's maybe more willing to work with the United States, but still in the same leadership structure? Or could you just completely sweep away the autocracy there, the authoritarian government, and immediately go to democracy?
Well, I think according to the president in his past statements, he would prefer to not do a total regime change. He is always looking for someone that's already in the power structure, like he did with Venezuela. He often talks about how successful Delcy Rodriguez has been for him. He obviously wanted that in Iran. It hasn't happened yet. So I would think that that's where his thinking is at with Cuba as well. We'll see.
Correspondencia con la política consistente que ha defendido la revolución cubana en su historia y dirigidos por el general de ejército como líder histórico de nuestra revolución y por mí y colegiado con las máximas estructuras del partido, del Estado y el gobierno, funcionarios cubanos han sostenido recientemente.
Let me explain this. This is the president of Cuba telling the world, first he's telling, his people there in Cuba that, we're talking to Marco Rubio and President Trump.
Conversaciones con representantes del gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Estas conversaciones han estado orientadas a buscar soluciones por la vía del diálogo a las diferencias bilaterales que tenemos entre las dos naciones. Hay factores internacionales que han facilitado estos intercambios. El propósito de estas conversaciones es, en primer lugar, identificar cuáles son los problemas bilaterales que necesitan una solución a partir de la gravedad que tienen, de la incidencia que tienen. Y por otra parte, encontrar soluciones para estos problemas que se han identificado. Por otra parte, determinar la disposición de ambas partes de concretar acciones en beneficio de los pueblos de ambos países y además de eso identificar áreas de cooperación para enfrentar las amenazas y garantizar la seguridad y la paz de ambas naciones y también en la región donde desarrollamos nuestra vida, que es la región de América Latina y el Caribe. Hay que recordar que no ha sido ni es práctica del liderazgo de la revolución cubana responder a las campañas especulativas sobre este tipo de temas. Se trata de un tema que se desarrolla como parte de un proceso muy sensible que se conduce con seriedad y responsabilidad porque afectan los vínculos bilaterales entre las dos naciones y que en correspondencia con la política consistente que siempre ha presentado la revolución.
Okay, so that where it got dark, that's the video that they put out. So the president of Cuba is announcing that he's entered into serious negotiations with the United States. This is absolutely monstrous. I can't even tell you what people here in South Florida are doing. They're losing it. This is, people, the pollsters and everybody else, and I've said to you and I've told them, how can you possibly say we're going to lose the midterms when you don't even know what's going to happen next week? I want you to imagine sometime in the next 90 days that President Trump ends up taking over Cuba in some way, shape, or form. The Hispanic voter is going to quickly run to Trump. There's no way anybody had that in their crystal ball that President Trump and Marco Rubio were going to be able to take over Cuba. It wasn't even a thought. And here we are, it's accelerating quickly. And it's terrifying the left because you probably won't see this on many, you probably won't see it on CNN. You probably won't see it on MS Now, whatever it's called. They can't believe what's happening. And because people watch these news channels and they're not seeing all the stuff that's happening, all the winning. Oh yeah, let me talk about that.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
What an iconic speech that I was able to clip. Iconic. None of us knew any of this stuff was going to happen. How the hell can you say we're going to lose the midterms and it's February and March, and we have no idea what's about to happen? When we end the war, when we take down Cuba, when we take down Mexico. Oh, that's coming. Let me show you something President Trump posted a little while ago. I found it very interesting. President Trump posted something from Carlos Martin. I don't know who he is, but he says, Claudia, that's in Spanish. And down here it says, Claudia Sheinbaum admits that Donald Trump called her to offer to eradicate the cartels. And then she rejected U.S. intervention. That's right. We said no, proudly no. And they say they're not a narco government. He posted that. He posted that for a reason. Hey, we're going to come in and help you with the cartels. No, that's okay. We're all good. You can't mess with the cartels. Oh, really? He's not going to take no for an answer. She is obviously, what he's posting here, he's basically posting that, and they say they're not a narco government. And then he posted a video by her too, where she says, no, I don't want American help. The cartels are buddies. They're fine. Nope, that's not going to work, Miss Sheinbaum. He's coming for you. And for some reason, the Cubans realized it. This was an additional speech that the president of Cuba. Oh, by the way, I use a certain video editing program that has a translation. So if the words aren't exactly what the translation is, I don't speak Spanish. And if you speak Spanish, I know Beth is here. If you speak Spanish and it's not exactly correct, it's not me. I just put it in the computer program and AI spits it out. But here's his second speech.
Cubana, bajo la dirección del general de ejército como líder histórico de nuestra revolución y la mía, y colegiado con las principales instancias del partido, el gobierno y el Estado cubano, funcionarios cubanos sostuvieron recientemente conversaciones con representantes del gobierno de los Estados Unidos para buscar por la vía del diálogo la posible solución a las diferencias bilaterales que existen entre nuestras dos naciones. Estos intercambios han sido favorecidos por actores internacionales. Y aquí me quiero detener. Siempre que hemos estado en situaciones tensas en las relaciones con los Estados Unidos, aparecen esfuerzos por buscar canales de diálogo, por buscar conversaciones. No es la primera vez que Cuba entra en una conversación de este tipo. Yo creo que la más reciente, el ejemplo más reciente, fue la manera en que el general de ejército condujo las conversaciones con el presidente Obama en una etapa muy reciente, y todos sabemos los resultados que dieron esas conversaciones. Bueno, ahora también algún grupo de actores internacionales favorecieron el desarrollo de esos intercambios. ¿Cuáles son los propósitos que estamos siguiendo con estas conversaciones, con los propósitos que nos hemos planteado? Bueno, en primer lugar, determinar cuáles son los problemas bilaterales que necesitan solución.
Like I said, I don't speak Spanish, so I hope that the AI translation was good. But in any event, they are opening negotiations with the United States, and these are deep negotiations. It's not surface level of negotiations. I would expect probably within 60 to 90 days, it turns. They don't have any food. They don't have any money. They can't get any gas. Venezuela can't help them. Iran can't help them. They're effectively being, lack of a better word, choked out. If you are in that country and you can't eat, you can't do anything, you got no electricity, you got no food, you don't have a country. Can we just call it? The people that were feeding you with the baby bottle, they're not coming. There's no more baby bottle coming to Cuba. And so, of course, they're going to have to do a deal. And I've got proof of this deal that something is exactly that. Something is happening as we speak. I haven't seen Marco Rubio on TV or anything the last couple of days. He might be in Cuba. I don't know. Maybe one of the people from the Avengers of the Americas, maybe they may be in Cuba, but something is happening in Cuba. Let me go and show you a story here. This story was in CBS News, and it says, Cuba has agreed to release 51 people from prison. Quote, an unexpected move amid pressure from President Trump. That's usually like the first thing. Show me you're serious. Show me that you really want to have, a conversation. What do you want? I want you to release all the prisoners. Release them, or we're not going to even begin to have a conversation. So they released 51 people. From CBS, Cuba's government said Thursday night it will release 51 people from the island's prisons in an unexpected move that comes as the Trump administration puts immense pressure on the country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement that the release will take place in the coming days. It cast the release as an, quote, not my words, act of goodwill, stemming from the country's close relationship with the Vatican, which has helped broker prisoner release deals and U.S.-Cuba normalization talks in the past. So in a bit of goodwill, they're going to release these prisoners, and somehow Marco Rubio got the Pope involved, got the Vatican involved, and say, hey, man, we can't help you. I can't even use like the Catholic charities. You got nothing. There's nothing I can do at this point to even feed you or anything else. You gotta let these people go. All right, so we'll let them go. That's the start. That's the start, and how you know right now something's happening. Something is definitely happening. The government did not identify. Too fast. Did not identify who it would release, except to say that all have served significant part of this sentence and have maintained good conduct in prison. It wasn't immediately known if any of the people the government plans to release are political prisoners. The nonprofit Prisoners Defenders has said there were 1,200 plus political prisoners in Cuba. So, if there's 1,200 political prisoners in Cuba and they've offered 51, they're offering the olive branch to say, okay, let's begin talking turkey. We need food. Show me. Here's 51. Okay, we'll get there. The Cuban government has said that it granted pardons to 9,000 inmates since 2010. Another 10,000 sentenced to imprisonment were also released. The announcement was made just hours before Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel is scheduled to speak early Friday morning at another rare meeting with the press to address national and international issues. That's why you saw two different videos. One was yesterday, and today was the international press. By the way, international press, we're a nation, we're international. Did CNN or anybody cover it? Don't know. The Trump administration has sought to block oil shipments to Cuba in recent months in a bid to pressure the island's government. Fuel supplies in Cuba have run low, worsening the country's energy crisis. They got no electricity. The Trump-appointed top federal prosecutor in Miami is also weighing possible criminal charges against Cuban government officials. That's the big one. Because if we roll in the troops or we do something down in Cuba, they're already seeking criminal charges against the leadership in Miami. So, ergo, they're basically telling him, we're going to Maduro you. You put that together? Hey, you're only 90 miles away and you got nothing. You got no army, you got no food, you got no electricity, and my boys over here are putting together charges for you in Miami. It won't be hard for us to come down with the discombobulator and pick y'all up and put you in a jail in Miami. No, you don't get New York and Washington. You get to go to jail in Miami. Love this chess match. President Trump and members of his administration have suggested the island's long-standing regime, which has ruled Cuba since Fidel Castro's rise to power in 1959, 60 years, could fall. Last week, the president said the U.S. is talking to Cuban government, but added we could very, very well up having a friendly takeover of Cuba. I swear it sounds like a Godfather movie. You know, if you decide to come over here and do this, we could talk about some things. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. You're going to get Maduro's. If we get Maduro, the rest of these people are going to poop their pants because we're going to drop the discombobulator, and then we're going to drag you people out while you're pooping your pants and stick you in a jail in Miami. How you like that? All right, let's talk. And nobody wants to talk about it. Okay. In January of 2025, Cuba released prominent dissident Jose Daniel Ferrer as a part of the government decision to gradually free more than 500 prisoners following talks with the Vatican. Ferrer left Cuba last October and is now in the United States. He was one of the several prisoners released in early 2025 as part of the talks with the Vatican. The releases began a day after then President Joe Biden's administration announced his intent to lift the U.S. designation of Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism. I can recall a certain time ago seeing Melania in a nice white veil over her head where President Trump went to the Vatican. You guys can go ahead and Google and say, when did President Trump visit the Vatican? What was he doing when he went to go see the Pope and the papal administration in the Vatican? You need to talk to a bunch of these rogue Catholics down in Cuba and get them to understand what's about to happen. But nobody wanted to talk about it then. Nobody wants to talk about it now because communism sucks. Mondami, AOC, PayPal, the bald one, all of those socialists. Can you imagine if one of their prime jewels of communism falls to Trump? What kind of a day will it be for the squad when they have to look 90 miles south of the United States and go, communism sucks? And you see people running in the street and they're happy and they're eating and they've got their, now burritos is Mexico, their beans and rice and they've got some chicken. And all of a sudden And I saw somebody in the chat, I love what they said. Here comes Hawaii right here. Cuba was a beautiful place. We're not talking about a country that was a third world country. It's not Haiti. It is a beautiful country, beautiful architecture, beautiful people. It will be almost immediately prosperous. How do I know that? Because I could drive right down the road and probably show you tens of thousands of people who can't wait to go back and forth immediately. Go to their own neighborhoods. Oh, we're going to open a shop here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And bring the tourists. Beautiful beach, clean it up a little bit, put a spit shine on Havana, and it's open for business. What a better middle finger to socialism and communism than to see an icon of communism fall right before their very eyes. While Mondami's up in New York trying to put together some socialist commie utopia, while the mayor in Seattle is doing exactly the same thing, they're going to see all over the news people jumping up and screaming and having a party and going down and having a Cuba Libre and experiencing, capitalism. When the world sees these people in Cuba freed and bathing in capitalism, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think how it's going to shift the voting population in America who have been beat over the head with the Bernie Sanders of the world? When you can look right there, because one of the things that most of us have never seen is how bad Cuba actually looks because nobody shows it. Can you imagine when the news crews hit Cuba? When the news crews can go there and they're not run or taken to a specific place because the federal rallies only want you to see this, and they're like, this place looks like crap. These people don't have any food. They don't even have water. They can't wash their clothes. There's no Target. And there's no Starbucks. And there's no McDonald's. And then quickly they see people just so ecstatically happy that they can buy bread in a store. What do you think that does to Bernie? What do you think that does to AOC and the rest of them? How come these people are just licking up, salivating capitalism while you guys are up there trying to steal money from people? It spells the end, another brick in a wall end of the Democrat Party. It will be a visually contrasting socialism. We're going to do this with, like Cuba. And the people in Cuba going, we're living large. And it won't take that long. It won't take that long at all. I'm telling you right now, if they come to an agreement in April, by September, there will be trucks and backhoes and cranes and all kinds of things showing the revamping of Cuba like that going into the midterms. It completely destroys everything that they've been trying to say and trying to do. That, I think, ends it for them in the midterms.